Hello. We're going to start out standing today. I want to give you a pre-class warning that I'm feeling a little bit grumbly. So if the sound cuts out a bunch, it's going to be me trying to hit the mic, like so I don't cough loudly into YouTube. Uh, Today's workout, we're still going to do your whole body, but give extra attention to the alignment of your neck. I want to make sure your neck and your head are moving in rhythm with the rest of your spine as we're exercising. If you imagine the range you're able to see by just moving your eyeballs, your head and your neck move to expand that field of vision. Once we start doing functional tasks, though, it's important that we can see what we're doing, but also use our body in a way that minimizes any compression, stress, or strain on any one segment or one region. So when we're moving the neck and head, the musculature and the connective tissue not only is around the neck itself, but also integrates the neck into the shoulders and into the function of the rib cage. So if you're new to thinking about our basic principles, to keep it simple, your neck and head will follow the movement of your thoracic spine. That's the rib cage area. Okay, so like pretend you were going to tie your shoes. You're going to look down at the laces. If you're grabbing something off the shelf behind you, you're going to turn around and see where you're going. But if you watch me do it, it's an expression of my whole spine, maybe even my legs if I have to reach down. And here definitely as well, my shoulder, my upper body are going to come with me. It's not really useful to just isolate that movement. So as we're working towards just being in a flow and having grace in our movement, we're going to try to tie together all those different segments. So let's start out standing. And for your breathing warm up, I want you to place one hand on top of your head. If that's not comfortable or if your hair is real puffy, you can place it behind your head, but then make sure your elbow is a little forward of your head. Take your other hand, and I want you to bring it across the front of your body. If you're lucky enough to have long arms, try to touch the other side of your rib cage, but if not, just hold your arm against you like you were putting your forearm through a hooded sweatshirt. We're going to begin with a side bend motion. I want you to breathe in as you tip your lifted elbow up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, I want you to drive the tipped up elbow towards the floor. And we'll keep going back and forth. Inhale to one side and then exhale to the other. As you come through the middle, get tall up into your hand and then side bend. And try to feel that on both sides. So I get big, then I fall. And I lift up and over as I inhale. And then exhale, drive that elbow down. One more time. Inhale up and over, expanding into the ribs. Exhale, sink. Switch hands. All right. Root down into your feet. Give you that initial tallness up into your hand. And as you breathe in, we're going to tip the elbow up to the ceiling. As you exhale, drive it down towards the floor. Make sure the head's going with you in both directions. And exhale over. Always visualize elongating the neck and exhale over. Feel the breath expand the ribs and then contract to pull you back. One more time, up and over and exhale back. Now let's place both hands on top of your head, or again, alternative is behind you. I've turned sideways to you so you can see my squat form. Once again, I'm going to root down into my feet and to be more specific, push down into your heels like you're trying to dig them into the floor. And then your body should automatically give you a response of getting taller so your head is reaching up towards the ceiling. And I want you to keep that length running out the head and tail. As you squat, we're going to flex at the knees, the hips, and the ankles, and then you're going to rise back up, stacking everything over your heels. I'm not going to give you a breathing pattern right now, but please do keep breathing. I don't necessarily find one way is necessary in the squat. Just whatever gives you a flow and helps you feel connected, integrated when you rise back up to vertical. Every time we get up, let's check that tall feeling. Let me add one more thought. Very gently relax the top of your shoulders. You don't have to push them down real hard, but make sure that you feel like the shoulder blades are just riding along on the rib cage. One more full one. And we're going to go down again, but I'm going to have you bring your arms back down and then just drop down into that squat. All right, so when we're in our squat, your weight's still over your heels. Your hips are a little back of your heels, and I'm just bouncing a little bit to get a sense of where I am into my legs. With the hips back, even though I'm hinged forward, I'm still trying to create a neutral line with my spine. And now I'm going to take both arms out of chest height. I want you to rotate a little bit towards your right knee. When you breathe in, you're going to bend your left elbow, rotate, and then reach your arm up to the ceiling. As you exhale, bend the elbow and reach back down towards the right side. On your inhale, let the chest expand as you rotate and reach up, and then exhale, bend the elbow and return. Inhale as you twist. Now pay attention to the right arm as well. When the left arm goes up, the right arm should reach down farther towards the floor, so the movement becomes an integration of both arms and the space in between them at the shoulder blades. One more time, rotate, reach up, and then back down. All right, let's go to the other side. Give me a quick check. If you feel like you're tucked, like in a cat stretch, get those sit bones sticking out. All right, so I'm angled towards the left leg. I'm going to take an inhale breath, bend the elbow, reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, bend the elbow and return. Use your gaze to make sure your neck and head are following that rotation of the ribs. So I'm going to watch the elbow, then the hand, track it back to return, and rotate, reach back. Let's bring the attention down to your hips now. The hips should be rotating just a little bit to follow the motion, and twist and reach, bend and return. All right, let's move down to the mat. You're going to kneel on your hands and knees. If kneeling's not an option for you, just grab the seat of a chair and we can make a quadruped-like position, putting your hands on the seat and coming into a supported squat where you can offload a little weight into your arms. That's good for both can't kneel, but also if you have wrist problems, it's weight in your arms, but much less than here. All right, back to here. Spread your fingertips apart. Now, two of your bigger neck muscles have attachment points all along the side of your neck and then come out to your shoulder blades, one on the outside of the top and one on the inside. So let's do a small motion of your shoulder blades just to bring awareness to that part of your body as a link. Press away from the floor and feel your rib cage pressing against the scapula. Now let's keep awareness of the rest of your body, so make sure your head, your ribs, and your hips are in line and as neutral as possible. You can kind of imagine like there was a skewer going through your body, and these are the 3 chunks of food on it. When you breathe in, I want you to draw your shoulder blades slightly closer towards your spine, and as you do that, your rib cage will sink slightly towards the floor. Push away from the floor so the rib cage will lift again and your shoulder blades will spread out. This should be really tiny. As you inhale, draw your shoulder blades slightly closer together, and then exhale, spread them apart. Now, as you keep going back and forth, I drew your attention first to your arms, how you were going to power this motion, but now try to feel the muscles in between the shoulder blades and the muscles on the outer side of the shoulder blades wrapping around the sides of your rib cage. Your shoulder blades, as they're moving back and forth, are actually sliding around a cylinder. So it's not just in and out like elevator doors opening and closing. When they spread apart, they feel like they're almost going to keep sliding around you towards your armpit. Now, when we go into the cat stretch in a second, we're still going to incorporate that glide with some spinal movements. You're going to feel even more of that engagement I was just describing. All right, so to our cat. You're going to take a breath in to prepare. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone under and start to flex your spine. Scoop your abs up and hang your head down. So in this phase, you want to feel your shoulder blades spreading apart. Stay there and take a breath in. When you exhale, stick out your tailbone. Start to flatten your back. We're going to go past neutral. Keep pushing away with your hands, but lift your chest and chin to come into a slight extension. Inhale to stay here. Exhale, tuck your tail under, draw your abs up, spread the shoulder blades apart, and hang the head down to look at your knees. Stay there, take a breath into your back. And then exhale, stick out your tailbone. Use your breath to keep compressing that deep layer of your abs. Feel the sit bones get wider. Feel your chest and your chin lift. So we still have that connection. Inhale there. Exhale, tuck your tail under. Your sit bones will feel like they narrow when you flex. Draw the abs up with your breath, hang the head down. As you hold for your inhale, can you make any more energy drawing your head and tail closer together? Then when you exhale, stick out the sit bones, flatten the back, glide those shoulder blades back and down, lift your chest and head. One more time, breathe in. Exhale, tuck your tailbone under, scoop the abs up, round the spine. Hold there for one more breath in, and then roll it back out, tail to head, lifting your heart and lifting your chin. All right, push away from the floor again and just reset that nice neutral spine. So we're going to bring the gaze down to the floor again, right in between the fingertips. Let's do a weight shift, and I would like you to practice keeping an awareness of your back, even though you can't actually feel it against anything. So I get that propped up feeling away from the floor, and I'm going to start to shift forward and back. Now, in the shifting, the two places we can still sense our body is how we're pushing at the shoulders, that rib cage against the shoulder blade thing, and the sit bone angle that I described before. If you're staying neutral, pause in the back position. If you're neutral when you're back here, your sit bones should feel like they're pointing towards the wall, and even more specifically, like you can really feel the bones pressing into the soft tissue. If I go back too far, do that with me. Let's sit back to a shell stretch. At a certain point, your spine has to flex, and now your sit bones are pointing down towards your heels, and you can feel their relationship against the tissue gets soft again. There's not that pressure. So let's come back up. So I want you to imagine that pressure as something like you're rebounding off of to switch directions. Just try that 3 more times. So I'm going to go back with those wide sit bones and shift onto the hands. Back and forward. Let's add a little side to this to get more strength in your wrists. So you're going to push your body weight over to the right, loading up the right arm and the right knee. Now we're going to swing backwards, take it around to the left side, and come up and forward onto that left arm. So I'm going to draw a horseshoe back and forth, always keeping the neutral spine. Continue to breathe, and you can reinforce that both phases of the breath support this neutral spine. When you expand on an inhale, your rib cage gets bigger in every direction, and you can feel your body long from your head away from your tail. Let's do 3 more. When you exhale, we've got that deep layer of compression of the abs, and then come back to the middle. All right, let's get off your arms and legs and go down onto your back. When you lay down on your mat, we're not going to stay straight-legged, but straight at least one of your legs to make sure you've got the space to do that. All right, give me a couple wrist rolls also. You could do it with a fist like I'm doing it, or you can do it with floppy hands. Maybe both. Oh, a little shadow puppet going on there. Okay. Quick body scan, because you could always pause this. When you lay down on your back, if your neck feels really tense just laying down here, why don't you grab a very small paperback book and place it under your head, and that might release some of the pressure in your neck and in your chest. The next exercise is called the hip release. We're going to focus on stabilizing your pelvis and your rib cage in this exercise. And I want you to think about these segments also being important to your neck's health because this is like your foundation underneath when you're in your standing posture. Place your hands on your 2 hip bones so you can feel if you're moving or not. And we're going to go into the hip release. So isolating one leg in motion, as you inhale, you're going to let your knee fall out to the side, and then you're going to slide your foot down the mat to straighten your leg. When you exhale, turn your leg in and pull it back up to the top. As the knee falls out, resist moving your opposite hip, slide the foot away, rotate the leg in, and pull back up. When you breathe in, try to focus the breath into the back of your body to sense the ribs on the mat. Exhale as you bring it back in. Let's do the same leg, but in the reverse direction. Drop towards the center and slide your leg down. Turn out your toes, drag the heel in. That's where you're going to feel least stable and pull back up. I mean, if you're not ready for it. Inhale, drop your knee in, slide your foot down, turn your toes out, drag your heel in, and lift. One more time. Drop into the midline, slide the foot away, rotate the leg out, drag your heel in, lift your knee. Let's switch to the other leg. Drop your knee out to the side, glide your foot down the mat, turn the leg in, and pull it back up. Think about the leg you're not moving for a second. Make sure you feel that foot really planted into the floor, especially at the big toe. Rotate the leg in and lift. And that'll activate your inner thigh muscle just a little bit, which is a muscle group that helps you feel more connection, pause when you get to the top, with your pelvic floor and the deep core muscles, like all working together. Your pelvic floor is one of your deep core muscles. Drop your knee into the center, slide your foot down the mat. Turn out your toes, drag your heel in, and lift your knee. And again, fall towards the midline, slide away. Turn out, drag your heel in, and lift. Just one more time, drop in and slide down. Turn out, drag your heel in, and lift your knee. That move's really, really good for your hip joints as well to start to strengthen the deeper muscles that control the fine motions of your hips. Look down at your legs. You want to bring your feet in kind of close, like 6 to 8 inches away from you. Leave a little space in between your knees. If you did grab something to put under your head, just take it out for this exercise. We're going to go through a couple of hip rolls next. And that'll just make sure we don't put too much pressure at your neck. All right, so you're going to bring your arms down by your sides for a little support. When you exhale, we're going to rock the pelvis to start curling your spine off the mat, and you're going to roll up a bone at a time towards your shoulder blades. Stay at the top to do a breath in. Then when you exhale, begin to roll back down, trying to release one bone of your spine at a time. So we move through a flexed spine and then unravel back to neutral. As you exhale, begin to curl your hips off. When the pelvis starts to lift, I want you to reach your knees away from your shoulders. That'll help you open the front of the joint, little stretch in your quads. Breathe in here, and then roll back down again. And then unravel to neutral. Keep the ribs anchored, but let a little curve come into your low back. Exhale, roll yourself off. Give just a gentle pressure into your arms so you feel like you have a little more stability. Stay there for a breath in. Push on your big toes again. Feel those inner thighs, and then roll back down. Let's do just one more like that, and then we'll change it up. As you exhale, start to curl your hips off the mat. Use your breath to keep compressing your abs, and try to keep your ribs just lower than your hips lower than your pubic bone. Hold here, take a breath in to stay, and then roll your way back down. All right, so hopefully that felt like a nice stretch along your back, especially on the way down. Now, let's do this movement in a different way where we're requiring a little more tone in the muscles around your torso. I want you to take one foot. You're going to put it on top of the other thigh, and I want you to do it so that the arch of your foot is kind of cupping around the roundness of your thigh so that you can bring your knee close to the midline of your body. This time, we're just going to go straight up and down with your hips, less of that wavy motion. On your exhale, push down into your stabilizing foot and the foot into the thigh, and then lift your hips up. Inhale, you're going to come back down. So we're going to take the pauses out. As you exhale, press up. You can give a little pressure into your arms so you have more points of stability. Inhale to lower. Feeling both feet pushing down will help you keep your hips level. When they lift, let's do one more time. Exhale as you press up. And inhale back down. Now let's switch your feet. Okay, so I'm going to draw that knee in towards the midline. As you exhale, push down into your arms, push down into your foot, lift your hips up. Inhale, lower back down with control. And again, exhale as you lift, knee reaching away from the shoulders. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, press up. Inhale as you return. One more time. Exhale to lift. Inhale as you lower. Now you're going to turn onto your side. Place your bottom arm under your head, or if that hurts your shoulder, go ahead and grab a pillow to use instead. We're going to tuck your legs up into a tabletop position and then reach your top arm forward at chest height. Now we're going to go into a spinal rotation, spiraling the twist low to high, and we're going to keep your legs still as an anchor point. As you breathe in, line your top arm above your shoulder, and I want you to reach out from here, but we're going to keep stable through the scapula of the shoulder. As you exhale, rotate back, reaching your arm towards the wall behind you. I wish I had the mic muted then. Stay there, take a breath in. When you exhale, compress your abs, lift your arm, and close back over. So here's what I was trying to say. Inhale, take your arm up. Now your arm's going to move in line with your ribs, and you're going to rotate your upper body, letting your head and neck follow. Stay here for a breath in, and try to let the breath go into the chest muscles you're stretching. And then when you exhale, compress your abs, lift your arm, and close back over. Inhale, top arm reaches up. When you exhale, rotate back. Use this phase of your breath to wring yourself out as you twist. Stay here and take another breath in. And then exhale as you lift and close. Just one more time. Inhale, top arm reaches up. Press your knees down a little bit harder as the weight of the arm reaches more towards the back. Hold here, take a breath in to stay, and then exhale, lift the arm and close. Let's flip you over to the other side. Okay, stack up the hips, the knees, and the ankles. Get your noggin comfortable, and then reach your top arm forward. All right, so let's take an inhale breath, reaching up to the ceiling, creating a traction away from the shoulder with the arm. As you exhale, rotate the upper body into the stretch. Let's pause here. Let your inhale climb up the sides of the ribs. And then when you exhale, make your arm feel even longer. Trace the biggest rainbow you can up and over to close. On your inhale, lift your top arm up. Rotate towards the back. Breathe in. Feel the arm get longer. Feel the chest expand with the stretch. And then exhale up and over to close. 2 more times. As you stretch that arm out, try to make the traction come from the shoulder without overly tensing your elbow or your wrist. Just tone there. Hold there, take a breath in. Start your breath first. Compress your abs, lift your arm, close back down. One more time. Inhale up. Try to feel that wet towel wringing out sensation as you exhale and twist. Breathe in. And now move from there as you exhale, contract your abs and close back over. Okay. I'm going to have you turn back onto your back, and just placement's going to become important again. We're going to use your mat to support your head, to do a little flexion with your upper body. So you just want to be close enough to the end that you can grab it. And also to make sure we're not working against ourselves in this exercise, let's set your legs first. So knees bent, space between your feet again. But I want you to try to grab it. Whoops. In a way where you're holding those top edges, but your elbows are forward of you instead of out to the side. That is going to make some strain when we pick up your head. Okay. You keep holding on. I'm going to take an arm away so you can see this. Before you lift your head, we're going to do one more really small motion. We're going to nod the head, nod the chin, up and down as if you were saying yes to someone. So just start that little rock. And if you make it really tiny, you'll be able to tune in to like the crinkly sound of your hair grinding on the mat. So it's like teeny tiny like that. As you're doing this small motion with your neck, we are using small neck muscles, but I want you to observe how the shape of your neck is slightly changing towards a little flatter, little more arched. And if the motion's small enough, it shouldn't have an effect on the rest of your body. Your ribs and your low back stay still. Now, when we actually lift the head up to do the flexion, the first motion will be the tipping down of your saying yes, and then the lifting up of your head. And that's really, really important to recruit the proper deep muscles so we're not overusing this big muscle in the front of your throat that links your jaw down to the rib cage itself and causes a lot of compression. All right, it's time to go. Grab your mat. When you breathe in, do the small head nod. Now, when you exhale, you're going to curl your head and shoulders off the mat till you're at the bottom tip of your shoulder blades. Now, once you're up, let your head relax back into the support of the mat. Stay lifted. Take an inhale and feel your rib cage expand. When you exhale, start to lower back down, a bone at a time, until you're flat. Take an inhale, nod the chin slightly. Exhale, curl forward, and your gaze should be at your thighs. Hold here. When you breathe in, send the breath into the back and the sides of the ribs, and that'll help support you staying lifted. Exhale, lower back down, a bone at a time till you're flat. Breathe in, tip your chin down slightly, and then exhale, flex forward, gaze towards the legs. As you hold for your inhale, check the top of the shoulders. If there's tension there, just slide the shoulders down, and then exhale as you return. Inhale, nod the chin. Exhale, flex up using your breath to slide the ribs towards the hips. Hold here, breathe in to stay. and then exhale as you return. Just one more time. Inhale, tip your chin down slightly. Exhale as you curl up. Hold there. Let's let the head relax backwards. Again, just keep reinforcing that pattern. You're lifted from the abs. And then exhale as you return. All right, you're going to flip over onto your stomach. And we're going to pose your arms slightly staggered. So I'm going to take one hand that will be under my forehead, and then I'm going to place the other hand just up, palm to palm next to each other, above it. And then when we're lifting, we're going to make a small hover style lift. The hand that is not under your forehead will stay on the ground, and the hand that is under your forehead is going to come with you in the lift. Let's see how that goes. I want you to set your legs parallel with just a little bit of space in between them. I'm going to turn this off for a quick cough. Yep, going face down is not my friend. Okay. Take a breath in to prepare. When you exhale, push down into your supporting arm and lift your upper body and your moving arm just a couple inches off the mat. Stay here for a breath in. Your goal is to resist any rotation through your upper body. When you exhale, you're going to lower back down. And again, breathe in before you move. As you exhale, lift up. Keep looking at the floor. Getting longer as well as lifting. Hold there, take a breath in to stay, and then exhale to come back down. Breathe in at the bottom. Exhale, press down into the forearm. Gently slide down both shoulder blades as you're lifting up into that hover. Now stay here and get even longer. Reach out energy through the top of the head and the tip of the toes, and then exhale as you return. Let's do 3 on the other side. All right, so it's an inhale breath at the bottom. When you exhale, press your arm into the mat, float the other arm up with you, and just lift a couple inches away from the floor. Stay here, take a breath in, feeling those ribs get bigger. Exhale, compress your abs, release your upper body to come back down. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, draw your abs in, squeeze your glutes a little bit, lift into your hover. Hold here, take a breath in to stay, and then exhale to lower back down. And just one more time, breath in at the bottom. And then exhale, tighten the abs, hug the ribs in towards the midline, float up into the hovering position. Inhale, breath to stay here, and exhale to come back down. Now we're going to switch your arms down by your sides. And so now we're going to begin already in a really little hover just so you can get your face off the mat and breathe. This exercise is a sustained hover, and I don't really need you to lift much higher than you are now. Like maybe let's take it up 1 more centimeter. It should be low enough that you're just feeling the muscles in your upper back holding you right now rather than the low back. This is called the windmill. Take both of your arms out to the side. When you exhale, you're going to bring one arm down toward your hip and the other arm up toward your ear. You're going to inhale as both arms reach out wide to the sides again, and then exhale to switch. When my arms are out to the side, my palms are facing the floor. When I bring them in close to my body, both arms turn in towards the body. And then back to the center, and exhale, arms into your side. Inhale to center, 1 more each way. If you're starting to feel strained, bring your hover even lower. Back to center. Anything off the mat is enough. Back to the middle, and then lower yourself back down. All right, let's push yourself back into a shell stretch. So you're going to go hips onto your heels and flex your upper spine. When we're in the shell, now I do want your back rounded, and you're going to try to focus the breath there. As you inhale, breathe into the back of the rib cage to feel the expansion. And we get a little stretch along all those spinal muscles we just worked. And then when you exhale, compress your abs, pulling them away from your thighs. And again, big breath in. And then a thorough exhale, and you're going to roll up with it, stacking 1 bone at a time. All right, let's do a side bend. I just got to fix my headphones. I'll fix my hair in my headphones. Okay, we're going to come into a double stack with the legs. I want to play around with the side bend here. Spread your fingers apart. Get your hand even with your knees. The way we're doing this wrist bearing, especially with the fingers spread, this is really good to counteract all the holding of the phone. I think also as we're dealing with neck stuff, we have to remember that all the nerves that leave the neck and go down the arm to control this are really impacted by how much time we spend gripping and thumb doing everything. So if your wrist feels a little tender, this is actually a great way to strengthen it, but it's also really, really useful for the nerves going into the thumb and the muscles going into the thumb. I don't even know what the muscles of the thumbs are called. Okay, both legs stacked up. Now, this is the position we do a side bend in. We are going to do a side bend, but we're going to play around with a little shift of the ribs back and forth. So as you see, I get a little movement in the shoulder and a little movement in the neck as a result. Free arm, we lay on the side. When you breathe in, I want you to slide down your stabilizing shoulder to start shifting your ribs, and we're going to lift your hips and go into a side bend. So we're just going to do that 3 times. Land yourself back down with control. On your inhale, stabilize the arm first, shift the ribs, lift the hips. You'll feel a little squeeze of the glutes, squeeze of the inner thighs, and then work your way back down with control. As you go up, this is dropping out of your ear, okay, so you can feel that as the effort, but still resist it coming up into your ear on the return. Now we're going to go up and stay a little longer. So you're going to press away with the heel of the hand, make that initial side bend. From this shape, I want you to restore straight spine like you're in a side plank and bring your other arm straight out to where the wall meets the ceiling. Now push yourself away from the floor and go to the side bend. Let's create the side plank. So you're like a T or an X at this angle, and then up and over. And then out wide, up and over. Let's do one more full expression of it. So we get tone in both sides of the waist, and then we're going to press up into that big stretch one more time, and then sit it all the way back down. Let's swing your legs around to the other side. We get the double stack. We get the spread fingers, even with the knees, and the other arm goes here. Inhale, breath. We're going to slide your shoulder down, lift your hips up, make that rainbow, and then come on back down with control. And again, up and over, let your head fall towards the bottom arm, and then control the return. One more time, just that piece, lift and stretch, and return. All right, let's shift back and forth. So you're going to push yourself up, slide the working shoulder down, and now let's elongate, knees to head, make that big X, and then side stretch. Push those ribs up like your big rainbow. And again, open, push away from the floor. I want active traction in both arms, and then up and over to side bend. 2 more times, reaching out, draw those abs in for support, and then big inhale as you stretch. 1 more time, exhale, connecting into your midline, and then inhale up and over. Come all the way back down now. All right, last but not least, let's stay seated. Reach your legs out in front of you, a little space in between them. Your legs can be straight or slightly bent, but just try to get into a posture where you're on your sit bones with your ribs and your head stacked right over the pelvis. Spine stretch forward with a little extension as well. Take a breath in to prepare. When you exhale, drop your chin and start to curl forward towards your legs as you slide your hands down towards your feet. Hold here and take a breath in. So this is our flexed position. When you exhale, I want you to stack back up. Imagine your best posture. So when you push down into your sit bones, you can begin to stack up one segment of your spine at a time, line up your ribs and your head over your hips again. Now you're going to inhale, swing your arms around behind you, push your fingertips into the floor. When you exhale, I want you to roll your shoulders back, lift your chest and your chin and look at the ceiling. Then when you inhale, you're going to come back to neutral, return your hands. Pretend you're sitting up against a wall, and as you exhale, we're going to roll forward, curling away from the wall. Hold there, take a breath in to stay, and then exhale, roll back up. Inhale, hands around to the back, push down into the floor, slide those shoulders back, lift the chest, lift the chin, and then come back to neutral. One more time, hands to the legs, nod the chin, curl forward, round over your knees. Hold there, take a breath in at the bottom, and then exhale, roll it back up. Inhale, hands around to the back, push down into the floor, slide those shoulders back, lift the chest and chin, and then come back to neutral. All right, my friends, you are all done. I hope your neck feels okay, and I hope it gets stronger, and I hope you have a great day.